I really gotta get a move on with this video. I like to upload these on Friday now, and it's nearly 5 p.m. And, obviously I gotta record the whole thing and then upload it and everything. There were just too many good videos hitting my, my sub box. But anyway... So yeah, I know I'm a little late to the party. I wanted things to settle down, and again, I wanted to, upload on Fridays. Ghost Swap and Credit Swap are real. I don't know if that's going to be the title, but yeah, they're real. Xbox, Credit Swap, and Ghost Swap. But obviously, first we need to talk about, like, how we even found Ghost Swap and, blah, blah, blah. So, obviously, I mean, like, the 5856, in my opinion, that was no pause storage at its absolute very best. I got that time on December 8th, 2025. Rock Rewind, removing SD102, removing, like, the last, like, major flaw with that category, fucking changed everything. It makes it harder for beginners to get into, but other than that, just genuinely, the early game is paced, like, other than Weenie, paced fucking perfectly. And then, like, Rock Slide now has, like, a little more going on. Yeah, and then obviously the rest is just what you would expect. Like, surely if you're watching this, like, you know how it goes, right? I mean, 25 tokens entering SCDA, and then we need, 40 for Plank, and then we bypass Knucklehead's requirement via Mindy Skip. So SCDA Floating Block, BBBH throwing through SCDA Sponge Ball, all that good stuff. Gask 2, just all of Plank, except for Plank Sponge Ball. Do Mindy Skip, and then the run's over. Again, it's basically just Weenie and Knucklehead. We were always hoping, like, alright, well, Weenie out of bounds is a thing, but it's not, like, viable. And Knucklehead out of bounds is not even possible on this version. We need more shit, right? Well, the more shit in question was not what we were expecting. So, in late 2024, a guy named Resin came in because Sam got the game into GDQ, and then this guy called Resin was, like, watching the GDQ submission, I guess, and he heard the Mindy Skip explanation of just, oh, it just randomly fails sometimes, and Resin was like, no, there's no way it could be random, there's gotta be a reason for it, so he investigated it, and, well, then he found out that it's because Mindy Skip fails on a multiple of 4 loads, and then obviously that opened the floodgates for our understanding of ball storage. We went from almost zero knowledge to infinitely more knowledge, and yet we still know fuck all. It's funny how that works, right? But yeah, like, that was huge, and at this point we already knew. We already knew this, but yeah, like it stopped. I think I got 1 flat 49, and then I stopped playing the category, and then, like, a long time after, all this shit happened. And then we found out, like, oh, you can burn, like, non-SB loads. It only targets, like, non-SpongeBob levels, ball storage does, all that stuff. And then another thing as well is that, like, when Mindy Skip was, like, basically brand new, there was, like, a tiny bit of ball storage testing done, and one thing that Shadow tried on PS2 was just BBBH to Sunday, and it caused this, like, menu effect where if, like, I think it removes a task from Planktopolis, and if you scroll down to Knucklehead, the game crashes. And we didn't know if that was, like, exclusive to PlayStation because we hadn't, like, seen it on Xbox. But yeah, then other things, like, we realized the PCSX2 was actually accurate enough for testing, and, like, we had only seen a menu effect on PS2, and the other thing as well was, like, the idea was to make PlayStation viable, to play no pause storage. Like, make it even capable of playing it. But, like, yeah, the final reason why I wanted to I mean, obviously it'd be fast to test on PCSX2 if you can avoid, like, most of the crashes by disabling TLB miss, and you can use speed up, and the save states are really fast and everything. It was just, it's like, it'll only take a few hours to test in total, like, that's not long, might as well. Not actually expecting anything, but yeah, like, that was the only time we had actually, like, seen menu effects was on PS2. Well, it was a menu crash, but yeah. And But, like, it's because Mindy Skip doesn't actually work in Knucklehead on PS2. It is the only sliding and driving level to not have MS effects, which is really unlucky. But yeah, that... You know, it didn't actually take very long, and we found something that we called a Ghost Warp. So... Where is, Oh wait, I already did it. I was looking for Sunday, and then I realized, oh yeah, there's no fucking Sunday. Well, technically there is. So, the chain is now that we're in combat, non-SB times like 4 or something, and then you go to Sunday. And what does this do? It unlocks the first task of every level. So, yeah, it's like, oh my god, like, PlayStation can actually play the category now. This is gonna be fantastic for accessibility, right? We also very quickly figured out that, we can even use it to skip Sunday, so... You do the chain the first time, you use a, use 2 levels as non-SB substitutes. You're only actually wasting 2 loads, plus Now Though Man Combat, plus, Sunday. Because those are, like, obviously the starting and the end point, and then in between... You know, you only have to waste 2 non-SB loads. Pretty fast ones, too, to be fair. What's it called? Yeah, so skipping Sunday was, like, a huge thing as well. So, like, basically, I found this, I posted about it, and then we realized that PSN is probably fucking faster for no pause storage now. And I forgot the PSN existed. I also forgot that the loads were as fast as it was. This was a major shakeup. So, like, the route is almost the same. Obviously, it's on PlayStation, so there's minor differences with, like, the route. Like, you don't do creek 2-frame. Like, you can't buffer or anything either. That's another thing. Bounceless is slow unless you do Drown Bounceless, which is kind of annoying. Steamed Early doesn't save as much, but it still does, like, save time. You know, Floating Block Late saves more because it removes a load. You don't have, like, upgrade lag spikes anymore, so you might as well just upgrade in Frogfish instead of Wii. Rock Rewind saves more because, you know, it saves a load, but that's pretty minor. Like, you're not gonna be like, yeah, I'm not gonna go for Rock Rewind on Xbox, but I am gonna go for it on PlayStation. That's obviously not gonna happen. Bungie, Now That I'm Bungie Late is fast, but it's super fucking duper not worth it. It doesn't even save as much as on Xbox, and it's way harder, and it has, like, this other, because then you're doing Bungie Ball, and that causes issues. I think Monster Skip technically saves less. I don't know if it's worth, like, loading to... After the Chris token, I don't know if it's worth, like, warping to the second task, or if it's worth doing that Eel Bash Boost thing. Yeah. Circulate is completely unviable, but to be fair, like, you aren't really doing Circulate these days anyway. The cycle with the moves for the end of SCDA changes, probably because of render distance. Oh yeah, you also do, like, a Drown strat at the end of SCDA. It doesn't even save that much, but it's kind of effortless to go for. I did fuck it up. But you would, like, drown and then do some warping. This is, like, yeah. Then you skip Sunday, you do Plank, and then you do, guess Time and Ring, because that's what you're replacing Sunday with, is Ring. And then you do Neptune. This only... We believe that backwards compatible PlayStation would probably, like, barely be faster than Xbox. However, because of the increased difficulty, you wouldn't really be able to get a world record with it. Because I already made a video about this, so I don't want to, like, you know, tread on old ground too much, but, like, obviously, it is notable. The loads are longer, practicing is not as efficient, like, even the practice mod is not as efficient because the loads are longer. The movement is just objectively worse, like, because there's, like, this sensitivity issue, and it feels bad. You can use controllers that get rid of, like, most of it, but it'll still always be there to some extent. PSN, well, that means you need to play the PS3 version, you need a modded console, and then ideally swap the hard drive with an SSD. It saves, like, 20 seconds. What else? Oh yeah, then you need to bypass, like, fucking DHCP protection or whatever it's called. DCHP, I don't even know what the fuck it's called. Because the PlayStations have that, so you gotta use, like, an HDMI splitter to bypass that. They're cheap, but yeah. You don't need to soft reset from sandwich driving onwards, you need to soft reset from 3K onwards, which is admittedly nice. But yeah, like, the big thing is that, oh yeah, PSN has a frame of input lag, which is really fucking bad for, like, slide jumps and shit like that. Also, apparently, I haven't tried it myself, but Red said, and Flame said, that Invisible Crate on PSN is fucking just, it is awful, and I don't know why. I don't know why it'd be awful, but apparently, it is fucking atrocious. So, goodbye Invisible Crate 3 meter, I guess. Don't even have that as an option anymore. So yeah, the run is really weird, because obviously you're just constantly losing time over Xbox, and then you do Sunday Go Swap, and then you're barely ahead again. So you have a slight lead, and then you basically lose it by the time you're done with Plank. Like you're pretty much, like, you're, like, roughly even, or just straight up, like, losing time over Xbox, and then bam, the second Go Swap. Because you're just skipping Plank Area 2 in its entirety, including even the warp to bounce to get to Area 2. And you're skipping Knucklehead. Like, who even needs Mindy Skip when you can just skip Knucklehead? Also, a really big thing to note is that, Go Swap just works no matter what. The load count does not matter one bit, which is fucking huge. And, you don't need to be like, oh, like, I need to dance around with, like, how I burn my loads now. You just burn SCDA floating block, or now the actually no, you can't burn now the floating block. You gotta burn SCDA floating block. But yeah, if you don't want to deal with, like, even scrolling, you can literally just do Dennis or work with no issues. But yeah, so it made PSN the fastest for no pause storage, and, like, it is, because, you know, we're also talking about, like, the brief history of all this, so it's worth bringing up. People were not happy. I mean, because it does save a lot. It depends on skill level. At the beginner level, it's probably going to save the most, but then at the intermediate level, it's going to save less, because you would have gotten better at Plank Area 2 and Knucklehead, and also, like, lag is, like, a huge thing. And then at the top level, you're going to begin saving more from it again, as you just force yourself to get better at, like, the token frames and, you know, shit like that. So, I don't know how much it was saving. My opinion was that at the very, like, if you're doing all of the shit, then it saves, like, 3 minutes at PSN. And then BCPS3 would probably save, like, 30 seconds or 45 or something. However, more realistic, even at my level, is probably saving more like 245. I only PB'd by, like, 2 minutes and 12 seconds. However, I lost a lot of fucking time in SCDA. Like, I just didn't play as good as my 58, 56. I wasn't trying to, I just wanted a 56. Dude, guest jumps are so fucking hard on PSN, it's awful. Like, with the lag, and Gesk also just likes to drop frames anyway on PS2/PSN. So yeah, having another version to play no pause storage with is good, but fucking hell, man. I don't know if PSN needed to save that much. I mean, goddamn, right? Because it is just, like, it literally cannot be argued that it is an objectively inferior version of the game. What the debate was more so about was, like, how different is it from Xbox, as well as, like, how much, because the route that you were doing was subjective, right? Because, again, no Plank 2, no Knucklehead, no Sunday. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I've always been of the opinion that the driving is not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. Like, I will say it is, like, the worst part of the run, but, like, it really, like, people have a fucking hate boner for it. Even people who run the game have a hate boner for it. And, like... Okay, like, Knucklehead is not good. I will concede that. But, like, losing Plank Area 2 sucks. And also, like, seriously now, right? I seriously... Like, Guest Ring is worse than Sunday. It just is, right? I mean, especially with, like, Ghost Warp being factored in. Like, Guest Ring is, like, 2 minutes and 30-something seconds, probably, right? Probably something like that. Like, the length of the token after factoring Ghost Warp. You could just fake ring and lose your fucking run for no reason. Like Sunday, okay, yeah, you're not doing that much at first, but, like, you can, you know, Ice Scream, Gumball, like, turning, Nitro Management, Goofy Goober can push you into things, he can just push you into a wall, TNT, and then the Spiral Skip and Sunday Jump. Like, that, Guest Ring is worse than that. Like, it's just, like, removing difficulty from the run in, like, a bad way. Removing Sunday in itself is not, like, bad, because Sunday is too long. Like, there isn't enough, like, supporting it, unfortunately. It needs, like, it needs a trick in lap 1, that's what it needs, like just a good, consistent trick, but you still need to practice it, and it's on lap 1, saves, like, 10, 15 seconds. That's what Sunday needs. But, even then, like, if the replacement was Plank Sponge Ball, then I would definitely say, like, alright, the PSN route is, like, way better. But, I don't know, man, maybe I think it's better. I go a bit back and forth, because removing Knucklehead is nice, but, like, I don't know, bro, I don't fucking know. And not having to worry about load count at all is nice, to be fair. So yeah, it was very, like, controversial, because it, you know, it does save a lot, but there's also some levels that are played literally identically, or, like, barely any different. There was also the argument that, like, people are only... Because there was, like, a whole vote for a split. And, you know, the whole thing was, like, people only want the split because they think that the PlayStation version is bad. Right? My whole thing was that because the PlayStation version is bad, we are going to get less runners. That was my thing. It wasn't, like... Because what you advocate for should be whatever you believe will give us, like, the healthiest, like, speedrun, as well as, like, increasing the player count as much as we realistically can. Because I've used this example before, but I can use it again. The whole, like... For example, if we wanted, like, to maximize runners, we would literally just not have category extensions, and we would just merge everything into one leaderboard to get, like, the maximum amount of runners. However, that's fucking stupid, and that's, like, insane clogging. So when I say realistically, this is something realistic where it's like, either having a split could increase the run account, or it could even decrease the run account. My thing was that, again, because I very, very, very strongly believe that the PlayStation version was a significantly worse experience than Xbox, especially because it's only faster for 2 categories and one early powers, and one of them already had a split, which was early powers. Like, having, like, the most popular competitive category be defined by a modded PlayStation 3 and an SSD, I don't think that's good for the game. And it's like, oh, just play other like that was the whole thing, like, oh, just play no major glitches, right? We play no major glitches, everybody was like, oh my god, Sandwich Driving 102 really is that bad. And then all of a sudden, everybody stopped making that argument, bro. You never hear that argument again. Because it's like I was one of the only people taking that category seriously, and then other people started taking it seriously because of no port storage changing, and then everybody was like, oh, SD102. I think NMG would be the best category if SD102 literally just wasn't in the run. Then it'd cause manly problems, but if it somehow didn't do that, like, if it was literally just like, oh, 17 tokens for Naldo Men, 22 for SCDA, 43 for Plank, I mean, why did I say 43? 37 for Plank, 47 for Knucklehead, like, that's literally just how it was. You do everything except SD102, bus and category, right? But yeah, SD102 really is that bad. And it's like, oh, it's only faster without a split for one category, and it's like, yeah, but it's no pause store. It was the worst part. It's not all tokens, it's not like AWT, it's not like ETU, it's fucking... It's the category that defines the game, you know what I mean? If it was only like 30 seconds faster, again, it just wouldn't matter. You're not saving those fucking 30 seconds, bro. And even if you did, even if you saved any of that time, it'd be like 5 seconds, not 30. Like, it just doesn't, like, at that point, it wouldn't matter. I knew quite a few people who either just refused to play no pause storage specifically because PlayStation was faster, or they were at least discouraged from playing it, right? I didn't want to even touch Xbox no pause storage, but then that caused me to just, like, not play no pause, like, even though my PSN run wasn't, like, amazing, it was still, I still just considered it good enough, right? And then, well, I don't want to call people out for, like, but, like, I did know people who were, like, discouraged, like one runner, the PlayStation was overheating, and they didn't really even consider, like, the Xbox no pause storage as, like, an alternative. Like their thing, when their PlayStation wasn't working, their conclusion was basically, like, I can't run the game. Not like, oh, I can't run this version. Like, not even like, oh, well, this is my preferred way of playing no pause storage, so now I can't run that, and now I just gotta play no major glitches. Like, no. It was literally like, I can't run the game, was like their conclusion. And now that Xbox is fastest again, you have a lot of people not only saying thank God. Oh wait, hold on. Spoilers, bruv. I mean, everybody already knew. But yeah, like, now that it's faster, like, not only are a lot of people saying thank fucking God and actually running the category again, like, there were also people who, like, were just gonna run either one of the two anyway, but now, like, they're still just like, yeah, I you know, like, now that Xbox is fast as I'm running it specifically because, you know, it's Xbox, like, it's, like, I don't know, like, again, treading old ground, but it feels important to, like, note. So, a cool thing that came from it was PlayStation early powers. It is worse than Xbox early powers because it has no lag clips, but, like, the reason why it's interesting is because it's so different, right? I mean, obviously the objective of early powers is that, like, you have the unupgraded moves, and then you're like, oh, well, you just do every end level token, you just book it to the end, which includes some lag clips. You know, sometimes you don't do that, but yeah, it's just like a cool category where you're just doing, like, kind of the bare minimum to get through the levels. That's a cool way of looking at it. You're doing the bare minimum to complete the levels, right? However, obviously, on PlayStation, you skip straight from Sunday to Neptune, whereas on Xbox, you do Sunday, Gesk, Dennis 2, Planktopolis, Knucklehead, like, so they're very different feeling categories. It's very cool that PlayStation can have its own, like, unique identity in that sense in this category. It's a cool little, like, break, because it actually feels like mini no-pause storage. I actually quite like it. It did get indirectly nerfed, but I can go into that later. So yeah, this had a split because it's clearly very different, and it saves, like, 10 minutes over Xbox. Something, like, also, by the way, when I got the 56, I was considering playing more because the SCDA was really bad. For the rest of the stream, I played PS2 early powers. I literally missed this token frame, like, fucking 8 times in a row or something, and I was like, dude, I'm not playing this shit anymore. I'm going back to Xbox. And that's another thing as well, like, another, like, an argument of just like, oh, just get good at the token frames. And it's like, it wasn't just the token frames, it was the input lag and the sensitivity issues and everything. But like, obviously the lack of lag was, like, a big thing. And it's like, oh, just get good at them. It's literally like, you cannot, there is no setup for this. I'm telling you right now, there is no setup for this. I would be shocked if a consistent setup ever gets found for this. People tried, there is no consistent setup for this. And it isn't just this token, it's other tokens as well, like Creek. And it's like, I don't fucking care what anybody says, right? It is inherently toxic. When you have these token animation skips where the second frame, not the first frame, the second frame doesn't have a visual indication or even an audio indication, and you have to guess whether you got it, and what so frequently happens is that you inch into the second frame, and then you unpause, and it's like, oh, it was the second frame, so now you just go fuck yourself. And it's this whole guessing game. There are some visual cues, but people, like, like... This is so unbelievably toxic. And it's like... Well, I say that, like, not in this category, because it's literally just no cheese in the 2 Dennis frames, and you can't buffer the Dennis frames anyway. And what do you know, they're toxic. They're easier than something like no cheese, because it's like, oh, you just press a button and then press another button a frame later, and they're still toxic, and they're still, like, way easier than something like no cheese, where the trigger is way off the token. Like... Well, especially now that an accurate load count is more important than ever, like, we especially, you know. Yeah, insanely fucking toxic. And I feel like a lot of the players that make those kind of arguments are the ones that don't play the game very much. And also, like... You know, there was a whole thing of, oh, like, this one particular runner... Again, I don't want to, you know, call people out. It's like, oh, this one specific runner plays on 360, and he's really good at token frames. I checked his PBs. He has, like, barely above a 50%, like, consistency rate with them, which is just not good when you're doing, like, fucking 10 plus of them. Like, that is just not that good. Like, that is still toxic. Like, obviously, if you have to, like, reset your run because you hit, like, the first, like, 3 token frames and then you miss, like, the next 3, how is that not inherently toxic? You know, like, being able to consistently do them... Which, by the way, when people learn buffers, they are just, like... They're initially bad at them. They don't just, like, do the inputs one singular time and they're like, oh, I can just do this every single time. Like, that's another thing. Like, they're not even, like, individually, a lot of them are free. But, like, when you're doing that many in the run, like, it's not, like, free then, because you're doing so many that it doesn't equate to, like, free. Hell, well, a couple of them aren't even free anyway. Like, the jump buffers are definitely not free. Monster buffer is definitely not free. Floating block buffer is definitely not free. But yeah, like, that was, like, a very big, like, distinction between the two, is that, like, lag, it does benefit the run, and the other thing as well is that, well, I mean, like, with lag... Like, I've experienced, like, the world record level with no lag and with lag, and, like, lag allows you to play closer to your sub, which then also, like, you can just add things sooner to, like, you know, make the run more interesting. I think a lot of people would significantly fucking delay sandwich out of bounds. For example, if it was just, like, it's like, oh, well, then I don't have to reset the like, genuinely, even though fast sandwich out of bounds is fucking cancer, I would infinitely rather that than resetting to fucking no cheese and Creek 2 frame all day, every day. Just, I would so easily, and I fucking hate sandwich out of bounds. I hate it, and I would still infinitely prefer it. Anyway, all of that is to say that, like, I very adamantly believe that there was a valid reason to be concerned that, like, PSN being not only the fastest, but by so much, why it could, like, why that would discourage people from running the game. We had a vote, we filtered runners, and there was a 55% requirement for majority, like, pro split. It got 54%. It definitely felt inevitable that, a split was going to happen. I also adamantly believe that it was going to happen anyway. A couple of the people that originally voted no split just said, like, yeah, I would vote split. You could definitely feel that tension. Like, people getting more and more and more fed up of PSN. So, yeah, that was just kind of how things were. No pause storage, like, kind of in a weird state. But if you weren't, like, good at the game, it didn't really matter that much. You could just keep playing Xbox. You know, you have these, like, other alternatives to play, but they just don't quite hit, like, no pause storage does, bro. But then... I kind of made it my, I really wanted to find Xbox Go Swap to make it faster again. It could also benefit some other categories as well, but I also unironically had an addiction to testing ball storage. You seriously, like, it actually, like, was kind of bad sometimes. Unironic addiction, bruv, and, I estimate that I put at least 200 hours into ball storage testing in its entirety. I do believe that. I was already testing anyway for, like, task skips and stuff. But you might notice, no pause storage world record, 55:48. This is almost a minute faster. It's almost a minute faster than, the previous no pause storage world record on PSN. Right? And you could probably tell by this, fast load. Oh, we're on Xbox again. What the fuck happened, right? Well, funny little thing happened, right? So, the run is exactly, again, the same as 58:56 no pause storage. It is identical up to, well, now you go from Dennis to Sunday immediately instead of doing backtracking. But then you do, well, it depends on, like, your load count, but I do backtracking after, well, okay, so. Obviously, you know, I defeat Dennis, too, because I'm awesome. And we're going to No Cheese. Oh, that's cool. No Cheese, we have No Cheese 2, like God intended. Holy fuck, is that Knucklehead Ghost Swap? Yes, dear viewer, it fucking is. The chain is No Cheese to Dennis. It does need to be 4th load, like Dennis needs to be 4th load, but yeah. Knucklehead Ghost Swap. Here's the thing, right? When ball storage was discovered, like, we thought of it incorrectly. We thought it was like, oh, if you do, like, 3K to Rubber Dub to Weenie, you can get a different result than 3K to Weenie. Oh my god, that means that it's fucking different. No, it's because of non-SB stuff. You know, just, we thought, we just, well, we thought incorrectly. That's a good way of putting it. We knew that No Cheese caused crashes, so I think it was originally marked in the spreadsheet as, like, untestable. But yeah, the other thing as well is that I think we underestimated the power of 4th load. Another thing is that, again, because, like, a lot of the testing done has been for sliding and driving levels and not, and, you know, menu testing has been, like, a more recent thing. Like, this was under the radar. And, so basically, No Cheese to Dennis, what it normally does is that if you die, the game crashes. I think if you play the level for long enough, the game crashes. If you scroll in the menu, literally at all, up or down from Dennis, the game crashes. It does stuff like that, right? And, yeah, it's not, like, you could say, how did we overlook those? But to be fair, number one, right? This, you could just say that about fucking nearly anything that gets found. Like, how did we not find Mindy skips sooner when we were, like, well, like, how did we not discover ball storage sooner, considering, like, the 000 coordinates thing, and, like, not realizing the frequency and the consistency of some crashes. How do we not realize, like, how ball storage worked sooner? How did we not find Rubber Dub skips sooner when even Cole was looking for it back in the day, and we would try it for maybe, like, an hour every, like, year or two? But you could literally just say that about any fucking speed game, bro. Not with, like, any trick, but you could just say that about, like, any well-developed speed game, you could just say that. Like, oh, how do we not find this sooner, you know? Maybe a cutscene skip in the game where you just, like, press start, like, a frame, like, the frame you enter a cutscene or something and skip is like, oh, how do we not find that? It's just, you know what I mean? But yeah, again, we weren't really testing, like, menu stuff that much, so Dennis flew under the radar, and then 4th load flew under the radar. I did explore, like, every single crash I could find documented it in the ball storage spreadsheet. That was basically just like, oh, that's another thing. I should have, okay, I'll get that up later. Actually, I should get it up now. I'll be right back. I have returned, bruv, but I'll get into it. I'll click on it in a bit. So, because I'm trying to basically, like, explain, like, how it got discovered and how it took so long. So yeah, every scroll crash, like, every crash that was documented where it's like, oh, if you scroll up or down from, like, the level that you're in, it crashes. Like, I re-explored all of them, and most of them just either have no effect or they still just do the same thing, or it's like, you know, like, scroll crashes with, like, we didn't realize the importance of, like, menu crashes at the time. The other thing, then, is that, again, there was a lot of theoretical testing that could be done. I was testing Weenie, I was testing Rock Slide, I was testing Sunday, and I still need to do more Weenie and Sunday testing. Fucking goddamn it, dude, I can never fully get away from the shit. But yeah, originally, like, PlayStation was the one, like, getting the cool effects, and part of the reason why is because TLBMIS can avoid so many crashes. Not all of them, still plenty of menu crashes on PlayStation, but that's why, because, like, there's definitely some effects that, like, would do cool shit on Xbox, but, like, they just crash. Especially with, like, the frequency of them on PS2. And then another thing was that, we didn't... Oh, yeah, this is the old spreadsheet. Like, look at how fucking chaotic and stupid this is. Do I have, like, a... Okay, well, yeah, I don't really have a... yeah, anyway, yeah, so... This wasn't really, like, a... I was kind of testing menu stuff because I got sick of testing Sunday and Weenie. Something the Sky discovered is that Patrick costumes can affect chains, and this is relevant. So then I started, and... Oh yeah, another thing. Did I just hear a Discord notification? I should have, No, I'm just... Yeah, anyway. So... What was I saying? I'm sorry, bro, I'm fucking... I'm trying to remember what I was talking about. Something about, like, Sky realized that Patrick costumes change things. Oh, yeah. Like, I was always... My assumption was that menu assets were, like, always very early in memory. That was just always my... But that it was, like... And they are, like... You know... But there were two things I discovered. Number one... You don't, like, that doesn't just mean, like, oh, you can only test, like, SB-only chains. Like, that's the thing. When I was doing testing, I was mostly only testing SB-only chains, because I just assumed, like, that was my best chance. And yeah, more often than not, like, a lot of menu stuff can get found with SB-only chains. However, that doesn't have to be the case. It depends on, like, how late shit, like... So, I already tested Frogfish on PS2, but I only tested SB-only levels, right? So then I was like, well, fucking, I'm gonna test, like, SB... I think, I don't know why, I just wanted to cover my ground on Xbox again, and I got stuff in depression, and I was like, damn. And then I decided to test stuff here, and from previous testing, Sky had, like... I already knew that there was one, like, Dennis thing. So yeah, like, Depression, Frogfish was, like, a big one that I was testing on Xbox. And then I started doing, like, No Cheese Dennis, because Sky had already found an effect before with it. It was, like, I don't remember the chain. It was something to do with, like, disco equip or unequip or some shit. So yeah, doing testing. Obviously, there's a lot here. Yeah. And I didn't test everything, but eventually I got to a plain Patrick chain, and, it had some interesting result, like 20 loads in or something. I mean, a plain Patrick chain. It had some interesting results that I wanted to explore on 4th load. However, I also knew that No Cheese to Dennis was causing some kind of issue anyway, so I was like... Oh, well, I might as well test it, because basically, what I like to do is that I like to, when I set up a chain, I like to save state and then start testing it. Even if I'm exploring something on 4th load, I like to just save state. So if I accidentally fuck something up, I can just go back to it, so I don't have to, like, redo it. And I was like, well, you know, the 3rd load is literally just right there. The first Dennis load is just right there, I might as well test it. And I scrolled to Neptune, and the game crashed. However, it looked like Knucklehead visually didn't have anything different. And I was like, is that just a visual thing, or like... Oh, this was still going. Yeah, I didn't know if it was a visual thing, or if, there was actually something going on with Knucklehead. And again, I saved the state, so I quickly tested it again. And it was Knucklehead Ghost Swap. And then I was like, Did I already have Knucklehead unlocked? And I had to check, no, I did not have Knucklehead unlocked, and it just works on 4th load. Here's the thing, right? I said I tested it with a plain Patrick chain. That is true. So, I thought originally that it only saved time in extras categories. How could it save time in extras categories? Well, why do you need to do monumental, right? You could just go to Knucklehead. Yeah, you need to do Knucklehead anyway, because you need the extras, but that's fine. Like, you just don't do area 2, well, you do area 2 to get the extra, but then that's it. Like, it still saves, like, I don't know, like a minute or less, like 50 seconds. Like, it still saves a lot. Because what it skips is, after collecting the plank extra, you need to, like, jump down to the bottom of the wall jumps, like, wait for them, wall jump all the way back up, do the ball boost, do monumental bash, and then, yeah, sit through the token animation. You just skip all of that, right? So it does save quite a bit. So I made a video on it. I think I was gonna go to bed, and then Latte said, plain Patrick is loaded into no cheese. Naturally. And I was like, there's no fucking way, because we would have found this sooner. And then Latte posted a clip just proving it. So yeah, the only reason this actually works, not the only reason, but like the reason why this made no pause storage faster again, is because plain Patrick is naturally loaded into no cheese. Two things, right? Number one, the naked Patrick that's like flying through the fucking air after Canyon Skip, that is an NPC. That is not Patrick the player, that is an NPC. Which means that they probably wanted to keep consistency. Maybe the idea, like, maybe originally they were gonna let you, like, just play as SpongeBob and Patrick in any fucking level, maybe? And for, like, consistency's sake, they just did that, like, or maybe, like, maybe they originally, like, tied, like, the NPC to, like, Patrick's costume for some reason. And the second thing, why the fuck is Patrick loaded into no cheese in the first place? You can't play as him. And this is, like, a weird thing that's in a couple areas. But yeah, now that I'm in Area 1, you can't play as Patrick. And yet he's still loaded into the level. He's loaded into no cheese. SpongeBob is loaded into SCDA Area 2, even though you can't play as him. However, Patrick is not loaded into Plank Area 2 because you can't play as him, so it's just incredibly strange. No cheese would be insanely early in ball pointer memory. Like, the ball pointer would be, like, significantly... Like, and then we could get holy Mindy skip effects with that, but... Instead, Patrick is loaded into it, but it's still... I believe no cheese is the earliest SB plus patch chain in memory. But yeah, plain Patrick is just in no cheese for some fucking reason, and that is the reason why it works outside of extras categories. So when I was doing no cheese plus plain Patrick, I wasn't doing anything. It was literally just no cheese. I was literally just doing a no cheese chain, like a default no cheese chain without realizing it. And this is huge, right? Like, yeah, we still need to do Knucklehead and no pause storage, but, like, we can use Knucklehead as one of the 40 tokens. You saw me do Knucklehead, and then I did Plank. So as you can see, yeah, and then I just book it to Neptune. This Plank was, like, perfect, by the way. I'm never fucking beating that Plank. Genuinely incredible. So, yeah, the way they changed the run, again, like, you don't immediately do the backtracking, you either do it, like, after the initial Ghost Swap, or just before, depending on your load count. Then you do Mindy Skip Shenanigans, you use it as one of the 40 tokens, you do Plank, you get Guitar, and then you book it to Neptune. So, this also skips Plank Area 2, just like in, on PlayStation, so that's similar, that's the same thing. However, unlike PlayStation, we still need to do Sunday because it's not, like, early enough. And also, yeah, we need to do Knucklehead still, so we replace Guest Time with Knucklehead, which is really fucking bad, but, like, because that's, like, the worst case scenario, but, like, ah. Also, another notable thing is that the reason why it even works in the first place, you need plank unlocked. So that's a big thing. You need plank unlocked for this to work. So basically it corrupts Knucklehead's, like, task conditions, and the only task you can warp to is the first task. However, it takes its warp condition, because you corrupted it so badly, whether or not you can warp to it depends on Plank's warp conditions. Oh yeah, some other interesting things got found, by the way, while I was testing. I think, like, a pseudo... I think if you have Plank Sponge Bowl unlocked, then you can ghost warp to the first 3 Plank tasks, but, like, you're literally never in that position in the first place. So then we would need to find a Plank Sponge Bowl ghost warp to then get that to work. But then you wouldn't want to do that anyway outside of early powers, because, well, you know, Gesk is still fast, like, you know, you want Gesk 2 as well, like, you know, you still want those tokens, so it's like, bruh. Anyway, yeah, so very interesting how it works, because it is just not like PlayStation's, but obviously it's still a ghost warp, where, like, you're able to warp to what's supposed to be a locked task. Also, after this got found, people were like, oh, well, I guess people don't want to split anymore now that Xbox is fastest, and it's literally like, the arguments that's being made... Oh, I forgot to resume the music, I'm sorry. Like, literally, the argument that was being made then was like, oh... when the two versions were pretty different from each other, you wanted a split. But now that they are significantly more similar, now you don't want to split? And it's like, yeah, isn't that, like, common sense? Like, that's literally, like, common sense, bro. Like, originally, again, it depends on the skill level, but if we make, like, an average out of it, PSM was saving, like, 2.5 minutes. You end the token with 41 tokens instead of 43. And you skip the entirety of Area 2, of Plank Area 2. Now that they are significantly closer in time, and they both skip Plank Area 2, and they both end the run with 41 tokens, even if they collect slightly different tokens, they're still ending the run with 41 tokens. Now all of a sudden, people are less inclined to make an argument about a split. Genuinely, how is that not common sense? And I get that the overall point, again, was that, like, oh, people only wanted it because PlayStation... But again, I already said my whole argument about that. So, yeah. That's just kind of a non-argument as far as I'm concerned. They are much closer in time now. How much time? Hard to say. It also depends on skill level, because at the end of the day, you still gotta do, like, Knucklehead. However, and you need to do, like, Sunday on, like, PlayStation. The amount of time it's looking to save compared to, like, what I was doing... The thing is, this 55:48 is better than my 56:46. So there's a 58-second difference, but this run is better, but not by, like, an insane amount. So if I had to guess, I would say that Xbox, at my level, saves, like, 40 seconds. I'd say, like, 40 seconds. But it's also easier. So yeah, and obviously now it's saving holy time against non-PSN versions of the game. You know, I feel bad for, like, PAL PS2, it just gets absolutely fucking it was already getting destroyed by PSN anyway, but I was just getting fucking thrashed. Like, god damn, how much does it lose, like... Compared to Xbox, bro, it's probably losing, like, fucking... like, 8 minutes. It's probably literally losing, like, 8 minutes, that's, like, or something like that. 8-9 minutes. So, oh yeah, this also changed, a couple other categories. Oh yeah, I should probably talk about, like, no pause storage, though. In my opinion, this made no pause storage worse. It made it easier to get into, which is nice, because... you know, Rock Rewind and Rub-a-Dub Skip, it actually became harder for beginners to get into the game. And then PlayStation made it, you know, easier again by, like, a bit. You still, you know, Rock Rewind and Rub Skip is still, especially because, in my opinion, Rub Skip is definitely harder on PS2, but anyway. And rock rewinds, like, very slightly, but to be fair, it would be so minor that it's hardly making a difference. But the big thing is that, here's the thing, right? Beginners weren't doing fucking GGC and Sponge Glide. So, you just made it a lot easier for them. And, well, Guess 2 is not really, like, an issue, it's more so, like, they don't even have to, like, think about guess jumps in future, so that's not a beginner thing, that's just, like, a general thing. But yeah, in my opinion, this is worse than the 5840, what was it, 5856 route. It is identical until technically, like, okay, moving the backtracking to after Dennis is not the issue. Like, that's not really, that's making it initially easier, because then if you run Dice to Sunday, you can reset faster, but that's, again, that's just, like, a non-point. Like, that's just, like, nothing. The fact that the load count needs to be on a multiple of 4 is really fucking annoying. Like, really, really annoying. That is annoying as fuck. Because now, right, if you lost a run in, like, no cheese, and then it's like, oh, now that's put my load count on a multiple of 4. Originally, it was like, okay, well, that's not, like, you know, because what's the chances that your next run gets, like, to sandwich driving, and then even then, you could just, like, not, you could just reload Weenie, or you could, like, not 2-frame 3 meter, you could buffer the monster token. There were things you could do to get around it, but, like, even if you weren't counting loads, it was only a 25% chance that the run would die. If you had literally zero clue what your load count is, it was effectively 25% for the run to die. So, like, yeah, like, that was one, it was annoying, but it was so much better than thinking it was luck like we thought, like, a while ago. So much better than that. Like, you don't even need to use the load counter as long as you, like, know your load count, right? But now, like, if I reset in no cheese, like, okay, so my load count is naturally on a multiple of 4 loads. And I didn't have to do anything, luckily, I didn't have to do anything. If you, reset in no cheese, or if I reset in no cheese, you know what I do? I reload no cheese twice. Like, that is, like, pretty stupid. Like, having to sit through those 2 loads, and obviously if you reset to depression, like, that's, like, you burn 1 load. And you might have done that anyway, but now, like, pretty much needing to. Because it's like, oh, well, you could just make the same argument of, like, oh, well, you could just, like, burn, or you could just, like, do things to, like, but, like, now that it needs to be, like, on an exact, like, multiple of 4 loads, as opposed to, like, outside of that. Like, obviously, that's not... That's stupid, because... Okay, like, let's say... I don't know, up to Dennis, my load count is, like, 32. And then I reset in no cheese, that's 34, my load count, I need to burn 2 more loads. Well, if I get a run going, I can burn 2 loads, but then, like, you're adding additional time, like, then... You're adding additional time loss, from not only adding 1 load, but adding 2 loads. And then if you miss 3 meter 2-frame, then you have to just, like, reload 3 meter anyway, and it's just really fucking stupid. So, yeah, it's just fucking stupid. It's harder to get it on the correct load count. That's why, by the way, as a side note, that's why buffering is even more important than it used to be, because, like, resetting to no cheese and Creek would just be so fucking awful. Keeping track of those loads, whereas, like, otherwise you can, if you're willing to accept a couple seconds of time loss, you can so consistently get out of, like, depression. And then, like, so that is one thing as well. I actually rely less on the load counts than I used to, but only because I'm willing to, like, burn loads to get back on a multiple of 4. And what I mean by that is that, again, originally, because it was so lenient, like, you needed to make sure that you didn't let it slip, and, like, it would naturally go on outside of it, or, I mean, it would naturally load on a multiple of 4 loads. Now, I know my load count, and the only thing that can add or remove a load from sandwich driving onwards that doesn't cause me to reset immediately is 3K. I mean, not 3K, 3 meter. So, when you think of that, Like, then is basically just no cheese depression, but because I buffer them and I don't do truck skip, I'm able to get out consistently, so it's actually, like, not as much... For me, at the world record level, it's actually not that much of a problem. It's annoying, and it's still worse than what we originally had, but it's not that much of a problem. I'm worried about the fucking beginners. Or, like, the people who, like... just kind of, like... can't reliably... you know, like, they're using their phone or something to, like, for, like, their splits, and it's just like, bruh. Like, it's still, again, it's still worse than what we had, especially if your load count doesn't naturally land on a multiple of 4. I cannot come up with a beginner route that naturally lands you on a multiple of 4 in this category. I can't do it. At the beginner route. There are certain things, you know, like, steamed early, okay, yeah, then it's enough. But, like, otherwise, I just don't, I don't know. Actually, I think the load count is naturally 2 loads off. And I do mention that in the tutorial, like... you know, and I do, you know, like, oh, if this adds or removes a load, then I mention it, like a time save or a reroute of some kind, like, oh, it adds or removes a load, keep that in mind. But I just don't even, like, beginners, again, like, yeah, you know, no plank, area 2, like, that's nice, but also, like, bruh. I think... it's awkward for beginners. Like, it's easier and harder to get into the game now. At the world record level, or even just at the high level, like, not really. Like, if anything, it's easier because no guest jumps, but that's the thing. That's why I think it's worse. So it's awkward for beginners. Intermediate level players, I don't fucking know. And then for the higher level players, I definitely think it's worse because, like, don't you have the option of guest jumps? Like, come on, bro. And also... like, I don't know, if you're at the high level, like, you're good at Sponge Glide anyway, and it's, like, cool. I think it's very strange to have to get rid of a token that's a minute and a half in exchange for a token, well, not literally in exchange, because you'd have to do it anyway, but you know what I mean. Like, all we're adding to Knucklehead is, like, a no-cheese load, a Dennis load, and then, like, a wasted Neptune load. Like, that's all we're adding to the run. So Knucklehead is like, I would call it like a 15 second token, something like that. It's technically not, it's technically a minus token because the alternative is just adding so much to the run, so like, I don't even fucking know, bro. So yeah, I think it's like a worse way of playing no pause storage, but I would still say it's better than playing PS2, I'm gonna be real. It is nice that now, like... because, like, the ideal situation was that Xbox was faster, but PSN was still fully able to compete. Or if it's faster, it's by, like, 10 seconds or something, like PS2. But yeah, like, I don't know, it is a decent amount faster to kind of just put PSN in the dust. I mean, 360 is also a big winner of this. I should say the 360 benefits more from this than OG. Might sound like a weird thing, because I just talked about how, like, important, like, the load count is. And, like, the lack of buffers is obviously gonna get in the way of that. Sponge Glide was so fucking hard on 360, bro. It was basically unviable. And even then, GGC was harder, and the up clips were harder as well, so you do the stupid ledge grab strat. So, like, outside of the load count, 360 is gonna be playing closer to Sob. And closer to OG in general. They're just gonna be playing closer. As for... well, yeah, that's why I said early powers got, like, indirectly buffed, nerfed, by the way. It was the kind of category that you would only play because you were already playing PSN No Pause Store. Like, are you really gonna get out the fucking PlayStation, bust it out, mod the content, like, just to play a version of early powers that doesn't have lag clips and it still has, like, long loads and shit like that? You really gonna do that? Nobody's doing that, right? Like, again, like, the way that it plays is kind of like mini no-pause storage, and, like... yeah, so PSN early powers already had, like, nobody playing it anyway, now it's just completely in the fucking dust. PSN was never fast for any percent anyway, because PSN actually can't do pause storage, so you have to play BCPS3 if you want to be fast as fuck. So yeah, what we are kind of left... so, like, that's the history so far. Obviously, my biased... you know, retelling of the story, but No pause storage was bussin', and then while we made it more accessible, we also made it worse by finding. I found that's another notable thing. I found Ghost Swap on PS2, and then I found Ghost Swap in Knucklehead for Xbox. It genuinely felt like it was never gonna fucking happen, and then it happened, and now it still hardly feels real. It's weird. But yeah, then overall, I still think this is a better outcome than having PlayStation be so incredibly dominant if there's not going to be a split. But, we still, like, that's the thing. Pandora's box, right? This is still, like, if it, like, it would have been found eventually. There's no way it would have been found by now. I think it would have taken years. No pause storage, I hate to admit it, it would just be in a better position than it currently is if I just never tried to find Ghost Swap at all. Which by extension also means if PS2 just had Mindy skip, then I probably wouldn't have looked for it anyway. Yeah. And then yeah, I mean that's basically. Like, if PCSX2 was still inaccurate, then, you know, if TLB miss was, like, what couldn't be disabled, I probably wouldn't have tested it. Just a lot of circumstances that led to this point. I don't want to complain too much because, like, the fact that Mindy Skip works at all is crazy, the fact that, like, Ghost Warp works at all is crazy, and that it works fast on PS2. Could you imagine if it just took minutes to set up? Or, like, even just, like, a minute? Well, actually, it does take a minute, but that's, like, if it had to be done, like, post-Sunday and it took a minute, like, you couldn't even, like, skip Sunday. Or, like, you had to, like, dance around with loads. Imagine if you had to equip Disco Patrick. Imagine if, you know, all this shit. And then, like, we got really lucky, the fact that it's so instant on Xbox. It could have theoretically been faster, you know? It could have been, like, oh, plank ball storage. Like, oh, plank to fucking SCDA floating block or something, you know? Like, that would have been faster, but, like, for what it is, it's basically as fast as possible, so I don't want to complain too much, especially because, like, if you're already good at the game, then counting the loads is not that, again, or even the lack thereof, as long as, like, you know what you're doing. Doesn't make it much worse. It's just that, like, if I just didn't try to find anything, no pause storage would currently be in a better position than it is right now. However, I did also make it more accessible, and I greatly expanded our knowledge of ball storage, so, you know, I did some good, bruv. But yeah, it didn't just affect no pause storage, as I said. So what could Ghost Swap even affect, right? Like, this Knucklehead oh wait, now we need to... do I go into, like, how it could... No, I should say how it currently changes things. So, ignore this for a second. Ignore this. Obviously, it saves a lot of time in no pause storage. It made Xbox fastest again. No major glitches. Obviously, doesn't affect it as banned. Any percent. I think at this stage it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't affect anything. Because why the fuck would you do a slow-ass token in any percent? And even then, you need plank unlocked. So, like, what's the point? Oh, no, that's for the... Yeah. So, there's no reason to... Actually, I think you have plank unlocked anyway, because of plank combat, but still. What else? Doesn't affect anything for 100%. I will say that I already talked about it before, so very briefly. A plank sponge ball wrong warp got found, but it's slow. But it would save time in a few categories. It does save time in EPAE, but it's like by like 5 seconds, and it makes the manly route like unbelievably cancerous. So yeah, it's not really like actually used. So yeah, it doesn't save time in Hundo because you need to like do it plank area 2 anyway. Same with all tokens, all extras. So you know what I said about like skipping Monumental? Like that is the case here. And once again, you use Knucklehead's token to replace shit. Obviously, it doesn't save as much in all extras, but that's why I think it actually makes all extras better than it used to be. I do believe that. I've always been a fan of all extras, and I really do think that people sleep on it, but especially now. So here's what you had to do originally, right? You would warp to bounce. This is notable. Right? Because you do it twice. So, yeah, you warp to bounce, you enter area 2, you do the wall jumps, you... Oh yeah, you have to, because you don't have guitar, so you have to, like, drown yourself because the button spawns when you get to that area, then you, ball that. Then you enter plank, sponge ball, and you need to enter this level anyway to get the extra, but, like, the reason why the token is really fast, because, like, look how close it is to the extra. You can two-frame this token, and it's absolutely fucking toxic as fuck. Because, obviously, you're going from the fucking Steam to the token. Like, look at this shit, bro. Like, obviously, this shit sucks. Then you warp to Area 1. Get guitar, get this extra. And then you warp to Area 2 again. So you have to enter it again. Look at this split, by the way. 806. 806 Planktopolis. You know how long it is in no pause storage? Like, even before the Ghost Warp? I think it was literally, like... I think it was under 5 minutes. Because Area 1 would be, like... Fuck, what was Area 1? Like, fucking 304 or some shit? I think it would have been, like, 302 or 304. And then Area 2 was, like... really fast. Yeah, so it's, like, under 5 minutes. And then in this category, it's fucking 806. So there is an all extras, and it actually is exclusive to all extras, an all extras exclusive lag clip. It is pretty cool, to be fair. You have to, like, hold upright so you don't get fucked by the spikes, and then you do this. Some navigation. Well, not really, you're just fucking walking. And then you do an up clip, and then, yeah, pretty cool, right? But still, like, entering Area 2 twice is stupid. And then, obviously, you have to do all of this anyway. But then after grabbing the thing, like I said, you wait, you have to wall jump, and then you do the fucking ball boost. I haven't done a run of all extras yet. I wanted to wait for something, but also, like, I want to be done with no pause storage and no major glitches. But yeah, you do all that. However... obviously, like, the way that it changes the run, you don't even do, you do plank sponge ball. Like, that's the reason why, like, it just improves all extras. Like, okay, yeah, the load count thing is annoying still. Obviously, you can't just, like, copy-paste the no pause storage load counts. Like, there's some differences here. However, Guest 2 was already not in the run anyway, so removing it is, like, it's already gone. It was removed in exchange for plank sponge ball. However, the identity of Plank Sponge Ball isn't removed from the run, its token is removed from the run. And you might be thinking, well, how is it, like, fast to remove Plank Sponge Ball, right? How is it fast? The reason why it's fast is because you just skip entering Area 2 the second time. The slowest token would be SCDA Floating Block, but you need the extra. SCDA Sponge Ball is actually very fucking close. If you didn't need Sponge Ball for Mindy Skip, then yeah, we get rid of Sponge Ball. Actually, no, because you need... yeah, you would just get rid of... because Sponge Ball doesn't have an extra attached to it. So it would be the slowest token, but it's not. Because... oh yeah, well, there's another reason as well. Sorry, I'm out of breath, and, you know, there's a lot to cover. The other reason why it wouldn't be fast to, like, still do Plank Sponge Ball is because when grabbing... actually, I should explain how it works now, right? So, again, you get rid of Plank Sponge Ball, but, like, the token, but you still, like, grab the wall. So, you enter Area 2 like you do normally. You enter Area 2. And then you do the wall jumps, you grab the warp, but you don't enter Sponge Ball yet. Then you do Puzzle Skip. You do all the wall jumps and everything, and then you grab the extra. So that is the reason. Like, it's very close, but that is the reason. Is because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do a guitar glide here. That means you'd have to wall jump all the fucking way up and then jump down, and that would lose a lot. So you need guitar anyway in this category because, well, obviously you need it for Neptune, but you also need it for an extra in Now That We're Men. So, you might be thinking, like, oh, well, is that worse because you got rid of the exclusive lag clip, and you got rid of the ball boost. Losing the lag clip is bad, however, the ball boost is already seen in EPAE and 100% anyway. So, like, losing it does suck, but, like, it's not a big deal, especially because a lot of people just don't do it anyway. Although I will say that it did make Area 2 in itself arguably worse, because it was bloated, but, like, you were still doing stuff, whereas now, again, like, a lot of it is just, okay, you grab the Plank Spongeball Warp, and then you don't actually do that much to grab the extra, and then you do Plank Spongeball. But, like, dude, getting rid of that fucking token frame, and, like, making Plank a lot shorter, like, you're making it a lot shorter, dude. I don't know exactly how much. It's fucking... It's gotta be at least a minute. It's gotta be at least a minute. So now Plank is, like, at least, like, 6 minutes, like, high 6 minutes now instead of, like... Yeah, because if you play really good, then you could have had high 7s. Now it's, like, at least high 6. So Plank's, like... Plank's, Oh, no, it's even more than that, actually, because you don't enter the fucking thing the second time. I think Plank might be 5 minutes. It might be 5 minutes. Yeah, I think it's probably, like, high 5 minutes. So, All Extras has a few problems. The two biggest ones are, like, having to grab a fucking Rubber Dub extra that takes, like, I don't know, like, a minute 20 or more, and it's just a nothing burger other than avoiding a trigger. That is, like, probably the biggest issue with the category now, but, like, originally the biggest issue... Like, yeah, Sunday's a bit long, but, like, you just have these, like, pretty fast levels. Like, even Now That We're Men, it's, like, a lot longer, but it's still not, like, too long, and SCDA gets longer, but not too much. Like, Plank was fucking bloated, and now it's so much shorter. Like, it makes it a lot better. Skipping all of this, I mean, look at it, like, bruh. So, yeah, it did fuck my load. I need to, like, double-check that the load count is definitely... I was just gonna do it after NMG. So, yeah, in my opinion, it improves, All Extras. Again, like, you're not actually losing anything by replacing Plank Spongeball with Knucklehead. Except for a lag clip, I guess, but, like... You like... I don't know, man, I mean... You're still doing Plank Spongeball, so, like, that's still there. You didn't do Guess 2 anyway. So yeah, All Extras is, like, no pause storage, you could argue a little bit of its identity has been changed a bit. Because Sponge Glide was, like, a big thing, and also guest jumps were a big thing. But, like, only really at the high level, / top level, so it was, like, debatable if no pause storage's identity has, like, truly been changed. All Extras has not changed its identity, it is still, like, just, it's mostly a better category now. I definitely think, like, the W's are bigger than the L's in this case. Yeah, so I definitely think that All Extras is a big winner. There were two other categories that got changed by this as well. Early Powers and Early Powers All Extras. Early Powers All Extras doesn't save as much time. I think it's actually the category that saves the... Yeah, it's the category that saves the absolute least from it. The Ghost Wolf, that still saves time with it. Because, what's it called? Because, Dude, I'm sorry, I should probably take a quick break. Actually, yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back after like a minute or two. So, Early Powers All Extras, because obviously, like, you never had to enter Area 2 twice anyway, so all it's skipping is just the rest of Plank Area 2, because it was, you know, you would get the Plank Spongeball Warp, and then get the extra, do Monumental, do Knucklehead, and then after Knucklehead, you would just, you know, it's basically... I think maybe, like, during Knucklehead, I don't remember, but anyway. Yeah, so that's where it saves the least. It saves a lot in Early Powers, and the reason why I'm fucking stupid, because I did not bring up the old Early Powers run. Let me do that real quick. Well, Well, I guess I could get Vaz's run up. I mean, it is like the world record before. Because Vaz found a fucking sick now that I meant up clip, lag clip thing. Yeah, I think that's the only lag part of it is the up clip. It's fucking cool. I guess I'll show it off. I don't even know if I've shown it off in any video I've done yet. So he did only get world record because he did the strat. that was supposed to be me being like sarcastically being a dick, but it probably came off as me actually being a dick. I did not mean to be an actual dick. I apologize. But yeah, look how fucking cool this is. This shit's actually, like, hard to do optimally as well. Like, saving time with it isn't the absolute worst, but it is, like, hard, and, yeah, it's fucking cool. It also removes, like, a few more melee, which is not great. Dude, Vaz's fucking heart rate is always 5 quadrillion millisecond. He's out of, like, BBBH's heart rate's fucking so high. But, yeah, so, with Plank before, it was pretty simple, like, obviously, again, I mean, you already know, I already explained what the objective of early powers is earlier. Earlier powers? Hehehe. So yeah, you do the, they actually had a very unique thing where, like, you grab an optional token because it saves time, because you get the warp. So then you set up ball storage, and you do that. You go out of bounds, but then you do the, you know, you don't get bounds, so you do this. We used to go all the way around until, I don't remember who found this, sorry. So yeah, like, you know, we're losing all this, and then we're just losing, like, no pause storage area 2, except Vaz doesn't do it, but I grab, I guitar, like, the massive stack. And you do Knucklehead and Neptune. So, yeah, basically, all that's gone, because just by beating Dennis 2, you unlock Plank, so you just skip the entirety of Plank and, Knucklehead. I don't know exactly how much time this saves, but let me put this into perspective, right? I got a 3702. This run is abysmal. You can see, because I'm comparing, like, again, I was able to compare against my splits before the Ghost Warp, right? I was plus a minute 22. I was plus a minute 22 off of my time, not even Vaz's PB with the, because I didn't do the Now the Men clip. I was just plus a minute 22 off of my stuff, right? And I still PB'd by over a minute. 35 isn't just doable, it's easier than matching Vaz's world record. It's easier. So it saves over 2 minutes. Because it's just skipping, like, the literal entirety of fucking Plank. I mean, how long even is the Plank split? Ah, fuck. Oh, and also I forgot about the music again. Let's see how long Vaz's Plank split is. Okay, so just under 3 minutes, and then you have to factor, well, you gotta warp to no cheese, and then... I don't know how good his Plank was in his PB, I mean, it looked good. I don't know... Yeah, so this shit saves, like, 2.5 minutes. Which means that, like, to get an equivalent of this run... Actually, but you need to grind more in SCDA. Well, yeah, so, okay, so it saves, like, 220, maybe. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it for now, like, 220, but I don't know. So, yeah, made early powers, in my opinion, like, a little worse, you know, like, it makes it a little more similar to PlayStation's, but also, like, Plank was just, like, it wasn't amazing, but, like, you know, it wasn't bad. I don't know, I kind of miss it. Oh yeah, also, I forgot to mention, this is important. Because of how... because, like, you do Ghost Warp for Knucklehead, and then you do Mindy Skip can never fail. It will literally never be on a multiple of 4 loads. Because Dennis needs to be on 4th load, that means Knucklehead can never be on 4th load. Think about it, right? Dennis is 4th load, Knucklehead is 1st load, and then SCDA Spongeball is 2nd load, and then Knucklehead is 3rd load. Even if you needed to do backtracking, like, oh, I need to do Throwing Fruit and, whatever it's called, SCDA Floating Block, that adds 2 loads, and then it'll be back on 1st load. The only way then it could cause issues is if you only did one of the backtracking tokens, like at that point in time, and it's like, literally, why would you do that? So yeah, so that's the only problem. You can't do the backtracking like separately from each other. It needs to be bunched together. Also, SCDA Spongeball got moved to just before Knucklehead, because now, originally, you have to, like, waste the SCDA Spongeball loads, but now, like, you do Spongeball and then Knucklehead, which does mean that if you miss the 2-frame, you won't know until fucking Neptune, or, like, when entering Plank, but yeah, that's fucking stupid. But what are you gonna do, bruv? At least it's SCDA Spongeball and not something hard like fucking No Cheese or whatever. Or, like, Dennis 2. Actually, well, no, Dennis 2 would be fine, because there's no, like, consequence for... yeah, like, Plank Spongeball or something. So yeah, to give my brief, like, overview, basically, no pause storage made it worse, but because it's faster than PlayStation, arguably made it better. All extras definitely got buffed overall. Early powers got a little nerfed. Not, like, overly so, but I definitely think it's a little bit worse overall. Early powers, all extras got... like, it got a little better, because you need to enter Area 2 anyway. Yeah, so, like, most of its identity is still there. Made it a little bit better. Not like, way better, but it made it a little better. And yeah, that's it. That's all the categories that it touches. So you could be thinking, like, well, can you find anything faster than this? I was gonna bring this up later, but I should bring this up now. Sky made a sheet, movie menu disable mega sheet, right? So this is the order of ballpoint, not counting main menu. Main menu is the earliest in memory. Other than main menu, this is the exact order from earliest in memory to latest in memory. The latest in memory is SCDA Area 1, Default SpongeBob plus Disco Patrick. The earliest in memory is 3K SpongeBob Mermaid Man, right? And, well, you can think of it this way, right? It's the same on PlayStation, by the way. We have no evidence to prove otherwise. If anything, all the evidence points towards what I just said, that they're exactly the same. It's just that the levels themselves can be earlier or later in memory, by the looks of it. I mean, maybe the ballpointers are different, but either way, the order is still the exact same. That's what matters. So, Mindy Skip, the way that we do it is SCDA Spongeball Default, which is by here. Important to note that, none of the other default chains can do it, it's just this. Then we found Ghost Warp on, PS2, which is Now the Women Combat Default, which is here. Which is really funny, because it sounds like Neptune plain sponge, like, bruh. And Plank Area 2 Mermaid Man. Like, alright, thanks. So yeah, I got pretty lucky that it works, because could you imagine, like, it required Plank 2 or... I mean, Neptune, like, that's just unusable. Oh yeah, default has an asterisk here for no cheese, because it's actually plain. Yeah, you can see the list here. Then... what we have for Knucklehead Ghost Warp is technically it's no cheese default. If it were anything else, this wouldn't be as impactful. Even Mermaid Man. Actually, no, Mermaid Man would be basically the exact same thing. Because you naturally get to... oh, well, yeah, it'd be slightly slower, but it wouldn't, like, actually matter. Because, Mermaid Man... SCDA Spongeball still makes Mindy Skip work, so that's not an issue. So, yeah, so there would have been effectively 2 opportunities for this to, like, work in no pause storage, but yeah, we got one of them, and we got the better one of the 2 as well, by technicality. So, can you do more menu stuff? Well, Sky looked, and the answer seems to be no. This might seem very strange, but, like, what this basically is, the closest thing that the chain is to in memory. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I think this is in order of... I don't know exactly how this works. This is probably, like... yeah, this is probably, like... this is main menu, this is 3K Spongeball, maybe? I'm not actually sure, but... these don't actually work. It's basically just, this is the closest thing that, like, the ball storage thing that the chain is capable of doing, even though it can't actually do it. And there's a lot of things here. Gesk Ghost Swap, Dennis 2, Neptune. Gesk, like, fucking hell, I mean, Gesk, Knucklehead, Neptune, Ghost Swap all first tasks, that's exactly, that's just like the PlayStation one. We'll ignore this one for now. Gesk, Dennis 2, Neptune, Gesk, Knucklehead, Neptune, like, there's a lot, right? Sky was able to, like, basically do some, I guess it'd be math, where it's, like, looking at, like, how big the offset is relative to, like, what it needs to target in memory. I don't know exactly how it works, but Sky thoroughly looked through memory, and the only Ghost Swaps that exist on Xbox are the Knucklehead one that already exists, and a Dennis 2 Ghost Swap, which you would already, like, or it might be Dennis 1, but either way, like, you already have it, like, unlocked. So, it's useless. Is it possible the Sky missed something? Yes. However, it would need to, like, target menu stuff in a completely different way that we haven't seen yet. Only then. So it is plausible, however I doubt it. This might be the end of the line. So, and that's the thing. You could say, oh, well, you know, even if you think, like, this version of no pause storage is, like, worse than what we had in the 58 route, well, isn't that basically just because of Knucklehead? If we can just do a Neptune Ghost Warp, then Guess 2 is back in the run. Or if we could do a Plank Spongeball Ghost Warp, then at least, like, that can, you know, if we can skip Sunday, then yeah, we still have to do Knucklehead, but then we can, again, do Plank Spongeball or Guess 2. Again, Sky did do this thoroughly. We seriously need to have seriously missed something, like, critically missed something. Unless that is the case, we will never find another, like, Ghost Swap ever again. I don't know if Sky also looked for, like, wrong warps or literally just Ghost Warps. I should ask them that, but even then, it just wouldn't matter, like, still, like, for this specifically. So, no pause storage might always be doomed Xbox to have Knucklehead. It might always be doomed to have Knucklehead and not have Guess 2 or Plank Spongeball in it. Which is quite disappointing, but even if we did have those, like, it's entirely possible that it would require fucking fourth load bullshit anyway, but still might be worth it to get rid of Knucklehead. So yeah, that also means that at the very least, Xbox early powers, like, can't be stripped of its identity, really. Like, yeah, losing Plank isn't good, really, but, like, you know. And all extras can't get affected. Like, the only way that all extras could get affected by it would literally be, like, it'd have to be fast as fuck. It'd literally have to be, like, alright, you do one lap of Knucklehead, Sunday to, like, get the extras, and then you, like, do a really fast Ghost Swap chain to just fucking skip it and replace it with, like, Guess 2. It'd have to be something crazy like that, something really unlikely. Or, you know, you bring Plank Spongeball back into the run. That's actually what you would do, but yeah. So, it's probably stuck. It's probably literally just stuck. Unless we missed something. I haven't, like, done ball storage stuff in a fucking while. Because what's the point? If Sky is correct, then what is the point, right? Because what could I even find? Token duping? We've theorized token duping. There's two ways that we theorized it, and one of them seems to, like, not actually work from, like, the evidence that we have, and the other one would need to land in a literally exact part of memory, and it would also, like, I think it, like, makes the token invisible and also moves it, and then you have to, like, it's really stupid. Like, even then, like, you're not gonna find that unless you're looking through memory, which Sky is not, and I don't know how to. So that's dead. Like, where do we even go from here? Like, I need to ask Sky if wrong warps got looked for, because there's still... But even then, I've been looking for Plank Spongeball wrong warp. Like, I've done a lot of testing. If you give me a second. I've been doing some fucking testing, and yeah, I could have missed something, especially because my older testing wasn't as thorough, and I haven't tested all the chains on fourth load, so like it is possible that something was missed. But like, even like not even the sliding and driving levels, just like the ones where like the sole purpose is just to look at like the menu. Let's see. Yeah, playing sponge bowl. I mean, playing combat, fucking like. Sunday, we did look at Sunday. I was doing other stuff in Sunday, but like, yeah, we checked Sunday as well. Where's Dennis? Dude, fucking hell, there's so many Sunday chains. Jesus Christ. Fucking crazy, bro. Alright, Dennis. SCDA floating block, I mean, fucking hell, man. Yeah. Now the men floating block. Like, I've done the testing. And yeah, like, okay, I haven't done, like, all you know, it's like, oh, well, you know, plain you never know, bro, plain Patrick, fucking SCDA 1. That's gonna be the one that gets us playing SpongeBob, Ghost Warp, and Hundo. And it's like, and all extras, like, yeah, that could happen. But I need to ask Sky. I really should have asked before I made this damn video, but yeah, it's just not looking good, and I've been incredibly discouraged from testing. So if I do any further ball storage testing, it's either going to be on PlayStation, but even then, PlayStation already has it pretty good. It's like, how, you know, it's like, okay, well, yeah, we could still get playing SpongeBob Ghost Warp, but like, what that would actually do is just replace Gesk Ring with playing SpongeBob, and in that regard, if the sole purpose is no pole storage, I've already tested everything. Just straight up, I've already tested everything. I think, anyway. I'm pretty sure I have. I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct. So yeah, I think it's just cooked. Task skips, I've already looked. Like, for sliding and driving levels for PS2, like, I don't think... I just don't think so. I do not think so, bruv. Unless I missed something, but again, I don't think I did. So yeah, that might be the end of the line for traditional ghost warping. Might already be donezo. And then it's like, well, then what could we find again? Like, well, token duping would not be a good thing, but that doesn't seem to be a thing anyway. Maybe an effect to instantly kill a boss, but I really don't think so, and even then I've done quite a bit of testing with, like, the bosses anyway. Not entirely everything, so I guess I could do testing, but yeah. What else? That's basically it. Oh yeah, there's still the Weenie and Sunday Gate thing. It would probably need to land in an exact part of memory. So even if I was on, like, the correct chain for it, even if it exists, there's effectively a 1 in 4 chance of it, like, fucking working. If I'm correct, that it needs to be, like, in an exact part of memory. It's just fucked. It's fucked. It's fucked. It's fucked. It's fucked. I still need to do more testing with that, because I only tested Sunday Main and Weenie Time. So I need to test Weenie Macho and Sunday Time and Macho, but it's not looking good, dude. I'm telling you, it's not looking good. And after that, I genuinely think there is nothing left to test. I'm almost certain there is nothing left to test. Like, theoretically, it's like, oh, well... You know, again, some Ghost Warp stuff could be fast with, like, plain Patrick stuff, and... Oh, well, which I can test, but then there's only so many loads that are worth testing. For playing SpongeBob, like, literally, like, 13... I think it needs to be, like, less than 13 non-SB to be fast. And then there's also, like, the Now That I'm in Bungie thing, but that's literally, like, fucking non-SB 6 or something. Yeah. It's just not looking good. We're kind of at the end game, I think. And maybe some stuff could get found for PS2, but, like, if it's not no pause storage, then I just don't fucking care. I really don't fucking care. Yeah. Like, and I did do a lot of testing for PS2 anyway to try and get no pause storage in a better state, because again, Gesk Ring fucking sucks. I just don't even know what to say, like, it's just cooked. But that's the thing, that's not the end of the story. Like, this is already a big change, but you know what got found, like, literally, like, a day later, I think? Like, a day or two later? A little thing called fucking credits warp got found. Where is it? Oh wait, I never got the run-up because I'm fucking stupid. I need to take another break anyway, bro. I'll be right back again. So, Sky found this, and we do it a little differently now. Like, slightly differently. But yeah, a little thing called credit swap, and I'm gonna show you what you do. Oh wait. Wait, what? Oh wait, I PB'd in this, I forgot. I PB'd recently. Alright, so... I was in Neptune with the Mermaid Man costume equipped. That's a lot of burning loads that we're doing right now, huh? I mean, to be fair, you know, we got a bit lucky with, like, the, you know, the Knucklehead Ghost Swap and, you know, the Sunday Ghost Swap. Like, we got lucky with those, and Mindy Skip in general. So I guess it makes sense, you know, for this one to take, like, 10 loads. I think we've gone past 10 loads, I think. I haven't been counting, bro. We've probably gone past it. This is probably, like, 11 or 12. Fucking... Yeah, it's still going. Still going. This is ×2 speed, by the way. It's fucking ×2 speed. Yay! And then we go to Rub-a-Dub. Yay! And then... What in the fuck just happened, bro, right? I'll tell you what happened, right? No fucking shit this didn't get found. There's multiple reasons why this took so long to get found. This is the... Yeah, so you remember when I said, like, Sky only found a couple, like, ghost swaps looking at memory? This is the other one. So, Rub-a-Dub. Keep in mind, I was doing a little bit of menu testing, and I really do mean just, like, a little bit. There was one scroll crash, right? I was never looking for a credit swap. Just ever, right? The other thing is that it's Neptune Mermaid Man. Naturally, when you think of, like, ghost swapping and stuff, you're like, oh, well, you know, by the time we're at Neptune, we beat the run, so it's like, why would you need that? So yeah, it requires Neptune Mermaid Man, and then you burn non-SB17. I mean, at least it's not, like, fucking 25 or something, but yeah, 17. Fucking hell. That is actually absurd, right? And then finally, you go to Rub-a-Dub, and it lets you scroll beyond the first task. Well, it lets you scroll to up to 6 tasks for every level in the game, even the ones that don't have 6 tasks. Neptune has a secret second task that contains the 100% cutscene and the credits. So by removing this restriction, we can warp to, Neptune's second task, which then takes us, again, to the 100% cutscene, and that's when time ends, because we just end time when the load is done, because we just load into the level that contains the credits, and that's all we need, right? So... yeah, that's pretty significant. There are things restricting this, but yeah, like, again, number one, with ball storage, we were mainly looking at, like, sliding and driving stuff, and menu stuff was, like, is more of a recent thing. Number two, the fact that it's a menu-related thing and it still requires Neptune, like, obviously, like, why would you test Neptune in most cases? Again, there's a couple things it could do, but, like, it's almost entirely useless in itself. Like, scrolling beyond, like, however many tasks are in a level is just not something that you just naturally think to do. The other thing, this also needs to be on an exact load count, but it's not... okay, so this is when you start the chain, right? It's not... It is not fourth load, so yeah, you don't do fourth load, but you also don't do first load or second load. You need to specifically start this on third load, exactly third load, which just means one load before multiple of 4, right? That is, that's stupid. However, it isn't a big issue. because it might sound like a problem, because, oh man, like, I know Mindy skip isn't an issue, but what about this? What we do, well, I should probably just go over the credits warp run. So it's 100% identical. 100% identical going into SCDA. Then it turns into early powers, where, like, you just get every N level token. So yeah, I don't even need to show it, actually, it's just fucking early powers. Then, obviously, you do the Knucklehead thing. However, during the process, you equip the Mermaid Man costume. Yeah, so, like, you do that. It doesn't, at this point, it doesn't matter when you equip Mermaid Man, but, like, yeah, just do it whenever you want, bro. But yeah, we're gonna burn 2 Now That Men floating block loads, because that's the fastest load that we can burn. Just straight up is the fastest load we can burn. That's why we burn 17, because Dennis crashes anyway, but it's slower. Even with the scrolls, it's slower. But yeah, yeah, that's, We burn the 2, because, again, Mindy skip, even if we add 2 loads, Mindy skip literally cannot fail, because even in this category where you don't do backtracking, so... Oh yeah, so, like, the tokens are removed from the run because you're going from 41 to 31. Because obviously, you know, Guest 2 and Plank Area 2 were already gone anyway. So what it's doing is, what we're removing is the entirety of planks, so that's 5... Yeah, so let's just... It'll be easier to think of it as, like, the 12 total tokens are being removed from the 58 route. So 5 tokens from plank, 1 token from Gesk, so that's 6. And then, SCDA Sponge Bowl, BBBH Throwing Fruit, and SCDA Floating Block, that's 9. And then Cirque is 10, 3 meters 11, and then Neptune is 12. So, yeah. So yeah, when you, obviously, again, Neptune, I mean, Dennis is 4th load, Knucklehead is 1st load, and then the 2 Now That Men floating block loads put you on 3rd load, SCDA Sponge Bowl is 4th load, and then Knucklehead is 1st load, and then when you reload it's 2nd loads, and then when you enter Neptune is 3rd load, that's why it works. And Bowl storage is already set up, so you don't need to, like, redo it or anything. So yeah, you enter Neptune, you burn 17 non-SB loads, and then... Hallelujah, right? It's very fucking stupid, but at least, like, you don't really have to... I mean, obviously you're counting your loads, but, like, you don't need the tracker for this. Yeah, so, we had some debates, basically, it got banned from everything, except fucking no pause storage, and any percent. Oh, dude, I should have got up any percent, but I'm not even that familiar with any percent anyway. You know, you just do, like, the same batch of, you know, like, fucking Depression, and, like, Now That Men, and I think Cirque. You just keep doing it until you get 40 tokens, and then, like, you warp to Neptune. Now, it's up to 20 tokens, and Rubber Dub is one of the tokens, which is sick. And then, Knucklehead is part of it as well. Which you might be confused by that. But yeah, the any percent world record went from, like, I think, like, 18 minutes or something to, like, 15 minutes. But yeah, the reason... So any percent just got a lot better. Like, yeah, the load thing is and Knucklehead, like, sucks. But, like, it made the run so much less repetitive, and just made it shorter as well, and gave it more variety. It's definitely a win. But yeah, we banned it from everything else because, like, it makes no pause storage different enough to warrant a split, which is what happened here. It's different enough to warrant a split. Because even though it's identical up to a certain point, then it drastically changes. And also, the form of completion is completely different, right? It's debatable if it even should be counted as properly beating the game. That's why it's a subcategory. As for other categories it would affect, it's all extras, early powers, all extras, and early powers is just the same as before. It makes them all worse. What does it do in all extras? Literally nothing except replace Neptune with 17 non-SB loads. What does it do in early powers? The same thing, except, it just kind of, like... Yeah, it's literally the same thing, except it replaces... Well, it can help a little bit with the manly route. It makes the manly route, like, better. Still not perfect, but it makes it better. And then early powers all extras. It makes the manly route very, very slightly better. Like, and I really do mean very slightly, because it still doesn't fix the issue with getting enough slam and throw, which is, like, the big thing in that category. It only helps with guitar, which does matter, but, like comparatively, not nearly as much as the other two upgrades. Actually, it's not slam, I think it's throw, that was the issue. Actually, no, it is slam and throw. So it marginally improves the manly route. And I do mean marginally. But, like, it's still just replacing Neptune with a fucking ridiculous amount of loads. Like, obviously that's fucking stupid. So... yeah, just got banned from everything, especially because, again, like, our definition of beating the game was always, like, time ends on final hit of Neptune. That's what people have been doing since Cole started running the game and Watsu started running the game in fucking 2013. That's what has been happening, right? That's what we've been doing. So for this, it's just a different form of completion, and we've deemed it to be worse in everything except any percent, and it's subjective and no pause storage, therefore it has a split. Thank fucking God. That was probably the most civil discussion we've ever had in the movie community. For, like, anything that matters, that probably is the most civil it's ever been. Thank fucking God. I truly thought that everybody was just gonna be like, nah, bro, we have to allow it in literally everything. It's too obvious, like, I was expecting, like, oh, it's too, like, it's still the credits, like, you know. Thank fucking God. So yeah, I definitely think that this credit swap run, though, was worse than Defeat Neptune. We had to call it by completion. Because literally, what else are you gonna call it, bro? You can't call it, like, restricted, because no pause storage is inherently a restriction in itself. So yeah, the reason why this is worse... BBBH throwing through is cool. SCDA floating block is cool. Not having to worry about ice physics glitch is cool, but I don't think it's worth just removing the token entirely. Circ, you know, TNT Circ, like, that was kind of cool. Very short, but cool. 3 meter is cool. Plank could be better, but I still like Plank. Right? The problem is that, like, okay, the pacing is not, like, nearly as much of an issue as it would have been. The pacing is still, like, bad, though, in the sense that, like, I don't know, you're bloating a lot of tokens by, like, a lot of levels by grabbing tokens, and then immediately the objective of the category changes by doing N-level token stuff, which is really fucking, like, bruh. It just, like, it literally is no pause storage, and then it turns into early powers for the rest of the run. It literally is exactly like early powers for the entire rest of the run, and that is not even an exaggeration. I can't think of any way that is different. I literally cannot think of a single way in which it's different. I guess the only thing, actually, would be that, like, you don't have to worry about manlies. Early powers still has, like, a manly problem. Well, I get, if early powers had credit swap, these two would be 100% identical. Like, for the rest of the run. The other reason why I don't think it's good is because, well, burning 17 loads is obviously bad. The other thing, right? The run is basically over after Dennis 2. Yes, you could miscount your loads, but realistically, you probably won't. Yes, you could, mismenu for when doing credit swap or, like, whatever, right? Have the wrong load count somehow. These are things that could happen. They could happen. And yes, you're not... If you're good at the game, you're not that likely to, like, reset to Neptune. Like, to have your run die there. First of all, it is obviously... Losing a run to, like... Mismenuing is obviously far more frustrating than losing a run to fucking Neptune, and it's far less satisfying of a way to end the run, and even just finish out the run, just to finish it out. It is clearly just a worse form of completion. And the only way that you can, like, lose the run, pretty much, is, like, making a mistake in Knucklehead, which basically never happens, and mismenuing, which will, like, it will happen eventually, obviously, just, like, failing a run in Knucklehead, but also, like, you can just say that about fucking anything. It's like, oh, I lost... Like, upgrading your moves is actually, like, a skill, because, like, a big skill, because you could lose your run to upgrading Bash. Yes, we've done that a lot of times. That's not, like, a good thing, though. That's like, oh my god, you can lose your run to upgrading Bash? This improves the run. Like, no, it's obviously fucking stupid, right? But it's just obviously something we gotta deal with. But it's still something that happens so infrequently that you can say that it basically never happens, because it happens so infrequently. This is basically the same thing. The run, at least 9 times out of 10, the run is over after Dennis 2. If you have any idea what you're doing, and you have any idea of your load count, like, the run is basically over after Dennis 2. Which means that the run is over when there's 6 minutes left. That is bad. That is a bad thing. And early powers would have the same problem as well. The extras categories wouldn't have it as bad, but, like, they would still have it pretty, like, there's still, then, because it can't influence the run that much, because you still need to, like, grab extras and plank, like, then literally all it's doing really is just replacing Neptune, which is still bad. The split is 2 minutes and 11, well, actually 2 minutes and 9, because I golded. Obviously it's stupid, right? Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, it's an arbitrary form of completion, which it could even be argued that it shouldn't be counted anyway, but even if it is going to, it's just touching stuff that it actually, like, either subjectively changes or just straight up improves. But yeah, like, I strongly believe that this is a worse category than Defeat Neptune, because even though it's easier to get into, it's a good beginning category. Not only can only Xbox play it, so PlayStation's fucking shafted. Oh, that's another thing. Even if oh wait, no, we gotta get into that in a minute. In a minute! So... yeah, I don't know, I feel like it's just kind of obvious, like, the run is over when there's 6 minutes left. And yes, like, after Neptune Phase 1, you're not that likely to get hit in Phases 2 and 3, they're easier. It's like, oh, well, that's like 2 minutes. First of all, that's not 6 minutes then, that's 2 minutes. And second, it is still infinitely better feeling to not only get hit there, but to finish a run there, is clearly, and it's more consistent with how other categories, like, end timing. Oh yeah, we banned ball storage from no level resets and early task unlocks, so this can't even theoretically touch anything. Those categories can't even be theoretically touched by this. Like, early task unlocks was already made worse by, like, the weenie thing anyway, so, like, literally just banning that just makes it better. And no level resets. With ball storage, Xbox is faster for that cat. Literally just play Xbox no pause storage and it's just faster than no level resets is on GameCube and PS2. Like, that is stupid. So, because we never banned Xbox the console, we banned Xbox pause storage specifically. And by banning ball storage from it, we're pretty much banning Xbox, because now, like, the only way then you can play the categories by doing no major glitches, and then it just fits under the no major glitches criteria, so you would just play that instead, but yeah. So it would have been the same, but even then, like, just in case a PS2 thing gets found that, like, fucks that up, like, you just ban it ahead of time, you know what I mean? In early task unlocks, it would just completely change the identity of the category in a worse way when nobody already plays the category anyway, so, like, why put people in a position where it's, like, just give them just bloat the leaderboards with another category that no one's gonna play? Even less so. Early task unlocks is in its currently best state it's ever been in. You know what I mean? But yeah, it just makes, like, again, like, the category that benefits from it the absolute most is early powers, and we can literally just fix the fucking problem by allowing macho upgrades. Literally just allow macho upgrades and the problem is fixed. And I've been asking for this since 2023. It's like, oh, well, the manly route is literally skillful, bruv, and it's like, well, is it now? especially now, you gotta do some SCDA stack grinding. Because oh, well, if we allow credit swap, then you don't even need to grind. Or, you don't even need to burn loads. Or, oh, no. Yeah, you don't have to grind. I have an idea, right? How about, instead of fixing the manly problem by allowing credit swap, which just is 2 minutes of loading, how about, instead of doing the unlock all moves cheat, we do the unlock all macho moves cheat, which is literally the exact same code, except instead of XX at the end, it's XY. And then manlies aren't an issue anymore. Oh my fucking god, that's a crazy idea. It's almost like I've been saying this for 3 years, but especially now, it seems like we should allow it. Like, literally, right? You can't even make the argument of like, oh, well, then it's almost like the previous versions of the category were like, we're playing a different category because like they just immediately go in with a disadvantage. If you do a fucking credit swap, like the old runs are immediately going in with a disadvantage. Like that's, like, obviously you can't just, like, I can't even believe that this was even a thing that was genuinely argued, right? Why would the solution to a manly problem in a category that allows all moves cheat, why would the solution be, oh, well, you pretty much fix the manly route if you, like, burn 17 fucking loads? How about instead of that, right? We just allow the macho moves cheat? Which, by the way, I never even liked having it anyway. It's like, oh, you have to get the manlies and rock slide. Like, dude, a lot of them are in your fucking face anyway. Most of them are in your face. And, like, also, you have to, like, upgrade Slam. At the world record level, you only get enough to upgrade Slam, like, partway through the fucking BBBH fight, which is really annoying to remember. And also, like, the number of times I accidentally upgraded Cartwheel as well, because I'm used to upgrading Cartwheel, and not Slam as my first move in the run. I'm just saying, right? Clearly, it would be a better overall category if you just allow the macho moves cheat, especially now. And I just feel like people would just argue, though. If I even brought that up, I feel like people would just be like, nah, bro, you literally just allow credit swap. As if that isn't, like, the literally worst possible solution to the problem. Anyway, and again, it only marginally improves, because if you allow it in early powers, it would be very strange to not allow it in early powers all extras, and then it'd be weird to not allow it in all extras, and it just fucking, you know, domino effect, the snowball effect. Like, it's just allowed in category that is just, it's any percent, so it's hard to justify not allowing it anyway, but it's literally allowed in category that, like, just, it's better because of it. And category where there's, like, a significant, you know, like a fucking, like, 8-minute difference. Like, an 8-minute, like, that's pretty significant. Also, the other thing is that, a lot of people wanted, like, well, apparently not enough people. People wanted, no pause storage to be defined by credit swap and classic. So we would have the 58-56 route, because that was just prime no pause storage. That's prime movie. But then people were like, we can't do that because it shafts PlayStation. So yeah, PlayStation's the root of all fucking evil in the world. Can't have it because of this version that made people not want to play the category anyway. My name is fucking Jeff. Literally, right? Because otherwise it has to compete under the credit swap category. Which, by the way, I will say that people were making the argument of, like, oh, you shouldn't have to be discouraged by, like, how leaderboards are laid out, and you should just, like, play what... Like, that was an argument that people were bringing up with, like, when PlayStation became faster. So you're just like, oh, just ignore it, just don't care about leaderboard placement. And it's literally like, couldn't you just say that exact same argument then? Like, they just have... It wouldn't be called credit swap. But, like, then PlayStation runners would have to submit under the... Like, regular PlayStation, which is what most people have, they get fucking destroyed by Xbox anyway. So it's literally, like, is it that much worse to... Like, yeah, they have, like, another, like, 8-minute disadvantage. They couldn't compete anyway. They genuinely couldn't compete anyway. I really don't see why it's, like, such a big deal. Like, like, PlayStation runners are worse off, but if you're gonna make the argument of, like, Xbox players shouldn't care about, like, leaderboard placement, then PlayStation runners shouldn't care about leaderboard placement anyway, especially because regular PlayStation was always getting bodied by Xbox anyway. But, you know, now it's getting fucking obliterated. But yeah, luckily, we got, like, the second best case scenario. The best case scenario would have been classic and then credit swap, but now we got, like, the second best case scenario, so I can't really complain, I'm just saying. So yes, if I didn't mention it, then Sky found the credit swap. Oh yeah, my load count is naturally bad in the credit swap run, which is fantastic. For the beginner run, I managed to get it to be, like, exactly, like, what it should be. Oh, no, not exactly, it's 2 loads off, but again, it's easy to account for. Am I already done? Oh wait, now I need to explain the reason why any percent does Knucklehead. Okay, so not only does it, like, do you need Neptune to do credit swap, and not only, again, like I said, is Neptune to rubber dub, like, seemingly the only chain where, like, you can actually do it in the first place, credit swap. The reason why I don't think it could ever exist on PlayStation 2, rather, it does, I'm sure it exists. My thing is that, well, not my thing, the thing. The only reason it works is because we have Knucklehead's second task unlocked. There is no way to unlock Knucklehead's second task unless you, unless you have, completed Knucklehead. PlayStation does not have Mindy Skip, like Knucklehead Mindy Skip. Cooked. Cooked. It is very hard to imagine that we could get a credit swap that works in literally the exact same way. Except it doesn't need to like, rely on Knucklehead's second. I just can't imagine that could exist. Like, I genuinely couldn't imagine it. I guess another way it could exist, because I just remembered, would be a ball storage effect. I think Sky said if you could find a ball storage effect that unlocks every second task, specifically every second task, then it would unlock Neptune. I think they said that, but I would have to double check. But if that's not the case, then yeah, then you would need to complete Knucklehead, because again, I just can't imagine. Oh, and there's another way as well, in theory. We have effects that just, like, disable, like, ever warping to a level ever again. For example, I don't remember the exact chain, but it's like a fucking Depression Frogfish one, I don't remember what costumes, on PS2. It disables Now the Amen. You can never scroll to Now the Amen permanently for the rest, until you obviously reset the fucking game, or you, like, start a new file. Like, it's just permanently... Actually, I don't even know if that would... It'd probably fix it. But yeah, it's just permanently fucked. If we could, like, disable Knucklehead, then it would rely on Plank's second warp, which still means that we would need bounce, but, like, that would save a lot. But that is, like... You would need to find that effect and then find credit swap. The only way you're gonna find credit swap, realistically, is by looking in memory like Sky did, because there's a lot that you could look for. My PlayStation testing, I have never been purposely looking for warping the second task, so I'd have to, like, redo most of what I've done, if not all of it. And then, and then what, like... You'd have to find the Knucklehead thing, and then you'd have to find the credit swap, like... And it need to be on potentially an exact load count. It needs to land on probably an exact part of memory. So even if you're on the right chain, it'd be a 1 in 4 chain. Like, think of it this way, right? This rubber dub one that got found. Again, third load. I think that means the rubber dub itself is on first load. I think it's on first load. But, like, the way that we do testing, especially costumes, you would load a file, so that's first load. You would warp to a location with the Mermaid Man costumes, that's second load, and then you would start the chain. So, if I was testing for that normally, I would have fucking missed it. I genuinely just would have... And you might be wondering, well, like, is there anything visually... Like, just like with Neptune, with Dennis, is there anything different? No. There is literally nothing in the menu whatsoever that indicates that anything would be up. It's just a credit swap, and any of the other loads don't do anything. They don't do anything. So with that in mind, you'd have to get really lucky, have all these circumstances align, and what, for PlayStation to be faster when it fucking sucks anyway as a version? Like, the reason why it was subjectively better than Xbox for no pause storage was because it was getting rid of Plank Area 2, Knucklehead, and, Sunday. Oh yeah, and also, even if we found a Knucklehead disable thing, then we would, like, either you need to rely on the PlayStation Go Swap that already exists, or you'd ideally find a faster one. All of that in mind, like, dude, it's just fucking absurd. Like, it's actually just, like, all of that. You know how lucky I'd have to be to find it? And even then, I've done a lot of like, it might require, like, a Patrick costume or something, and then it can't even, and then you'd be playing all extras effectively. It's like, what's the fucking point? And even then, again, all the stars would have to align. I'm not doing that. So the only way it's gonna get found is if, like, Sky or Resin looks for it. Resin's chronically offline and mainly focuses on Xbox, because Xbox is the fastest version for most categories. And Sky is purposely going out of their way to not test PS2. Because they were, like, yeah, they were not a fan of PS2 being fast for no pause storage. And you could say, oh, well, come on, it only affects the credit swap run. Do not want to risk people being like, oh, we should allow it for early powers, bruv, we should allow it for fucking this and that. Like, no. No. I think people get tunnel vision, and they, like, don't see, like, how something has consequences in other categories that aren't just, like, one thing. Even the PlayStation thing, for Ghost Swap, like, that hurts every other category, because every other category is what you play when you're bored of no pause storage. But now it's more like, oh, now you have to play them, because if you don't want to play PlayStation, no pause storage. And people get tunnel vision with that kind of thing. So yeah, it probably will never get found on PlayStation 2. I don't like using the word never, but I genuinely can't see it. Oh yeah, this is cool. This was already known, but now it's actually, like, viable, this SCDA ending. You can get hit by the spitter and the fogger behind you, but it's, like, not bad. Saves, like, 4 seconds. You very frequently lose ice physics glitch, that's why it's normally not viable. But yeah, it's a fucking cool-ass trick. Route, cycle, yeah, cycle. So yeah, I don't know where we go from here. I don't know if we can go anywhere from here. The non-English versions of the game can't do ball storage, GameCube can't do it. These already work on PAL, I've already tested. PAL has slightly different menu stuff, but PAL being fast would not be a good thing, and even then it seems to be almost identical. We know of literally one different menu effect on PAL, and that's it. That's literally the only difference. Yeah, genuinely, I don't know if there's anything else to say. I guess... Yeah, no, that's basically it. So that's, like, the whole history. Yeah, so hopefully, like, there is very little that can actually get found with ball storage now at this point. I think if anything does get found, I think most realistically, it'll either be some menu thing that we overlooked, or it'll be Sunday, like, a Sunday all-weenie gate thing. I guess it's also theoretically possible that maybe we could, like, corrupt Goofy Goober in a way where, like, he can never tell that he passed triggers. I tested, you know, just random loads here and there, but, like, I have, like, never really tested for that. So I could test that, because we realized that you can actually use Cheat Engine to speed up ZEMU. So I could test that. It's not, like, specifically, like, it's not what I want to do now, but, like, I could. Oh yeah, there is also the extremely, extremely tiny chance of, like, Gesk Moonjump, which is a thing that was discovered for PS2 Frogfish. I already talked about it before. I don't know if you would be able to. I think you'd be able to get to the finish line straight away. I think you'd be able to, and that'd be huge. Especially because we don't even need to, like, think about Gesk 2. Like, that could be fast. for no pause storage, but, and early powers and all that. Well, it could be fascinating. It depends on, like, the chain and, like, if you need costumes. I think the chain was, like, for Frogfish PS2. I think it was just like... I think it was, like, Plank 1, non-SB, like, fucking 4 or some shit to, like, Frogfish. So yeah, I think there's a very small chance that it could exist in Gesk, but I highly doubt it, but I should technically look for that. So yeah. That would be cool. You know, if we can't do Gesk jumps anymore, then, well, that would obviously Gesk jumps in other categories if the chain takes too long. And obviously, if the chain takes too long anyway, to where it only barely saves time, like, that would suck dick. But yeah, that's just the gamble. It's just Pandora's box. It's just how it goes. The Rockslide Hans trigger thing doesn't exist, bruv, unless it requires a specific load count, but considering the other ones did not require a specific load count, like, I highly doubt it. Oh yeah, by the way, we don't even know if PS2 has load variants. We have no idea if it has load variants. So that make it less likely for a credit swap to exist, actually. But yeah, that's basically it. That's the video, I think, so thank you for watching, and goodbye.